Hello, and welcome back to Password. That's what we're playing. Um, it totally hasn't been a month since I recorded. I swear. I know exactly what happened. I think I left the pool. Right, we went to the pool. Haas was wearing a speedo. Let me adjust my microphone real quick. And yeah, we stared at his crotch for about an hour and we chatted. We talked about Super Sentai. Yeah, it's coming back to me. It's coming back to me. Uh, I left the pool and shook myself dry enough to wander back inside, while Haas quickly toweled off and grabbed his clothes to follow suit. Are you going to manage getting all that chlorine out? I think so. I guess I just better be real thorough. You sure you can reach everywhere? Happy to lend a hand if you want. That's kind of gay. Whoa, really? Sure. Just two guys getting clean together. Nothing wrong with that. I can't believe you said that with a straight face. Hey, I'm used to helping wash my little brother and sister. It doesn't have to be anything more than that. I think I'll be fine. This time at least. Well, alright. But I'll be checking tomorrow. If you're missing a spot, then I'm getting it with you. I'm getting in with you and making sure you scrub properly. Okay, fine. We split up and I take a shower. I was fairly certain I was thorough, especially considering I was in there until the water went cold, scrubbing my back with the brush. After a quick blow dry, I changed into some comfy clothes for the evening. Oh, excuse me. And went to see what people were doing for dinner. Sure enough, there was Orlando. Oswald, what am I? Yeah. This isn't Oswin. What? Orlando, reheating some leftovers, although there wasn't any sign of anyone else. Hungry Dave? This is a bit loud on my end, so I'm gonna turn down my audio, not my microphone audio, but my headphone audio. Hungry Dave? I could eat. Do we have any leftover pizza? Yup. Not a whole lot, but enough for you and maybe one other person. Everyone else has been and gone already, so it's just you left to dig in. Everyone's already in? Yup. Haas and Tyson were in here last, talking about something. It was strange. I didn't think I'd see those two getting along. I think Tyson was even smiling. Huh? That's actually kind of cool. Maybe Haas found something he and Ty have in common. Seems that way. I think they were going to work out or something. Huh. Well, I think Haas was going to ask Ty some questions about something. Wouldn't give me specifics. Ah, okay. Orlando pulled some pizza out of the microwave and poked it, checking its temperature with a brief frown before putting it back in for another minute. Go grab some of the pizza and I'll heat it up for you. Did you have plans for this evening? I wandered over to the fridge and pulled out a large plate that seemed to have a whole pizza still on it. There was another one in the fridge. You said there was enough for just one other person, right? Yeah, why? Orlando, there's a whole extra pizza in here. How much pizza do you think people eat? Oh, that one's not for us. Well, it can be, but Benson asked if there'd be any leftovers. What, Benson wants pizza now? Maybe. I didn't pick him for the type, but he was polite about asking for if any would be available. Almost as if he was asking on behalf of someone else, really. Oh, well, alright then, here. Orlando swapped the plates over, gesturing to the plate of hot pizza. Dig in. I can wait for this. Thanks. I went to grab a slice and had to try and scoop it in such a way that all of the cheese just didn't drip off onto the plate. By the time I had it halfway into my mouth, I noticed Orlando looking at me expectantly. What? You didn't ask the question. No plans, I guess. Want to hang out? Well, yeah. What did you want to do? Dunno. You pick. Want to go watch a DVD or something and have some guy talk? What do you mean? Talking about guys? What else could I mean? I mean, that's kind of cute. So let me just heat this up and we can go get a DVD. So, what did you want to watch anyway? Whatever, really. Just to have some background noise. Alright, I'll just throw on some random animation thing then. Once we were both comfortable, it took about 5 minutes before Orlando started things off. So, you and Haas, huh? Huh? Just thinking about how that sort of relationship would go. Wait, what? Yeah, like, I guess he's fine, but a little full on, don't you think? I mean, sure, but it's funny you say that. Apparently he's been half pretending this whole time. I was having troubles following exactly what he was going on. He made a dig at Tyson, and I think asked me out. It was strange. How do you not know if he asked you out or not? Okay. Orlando. This is a real thing, though. At least maybe. Because I've been asked out by guys before in the most indirect ways humanly possible. And I always tell them no. But because I just don't like those people. Like, it's always people that I don't like that ask. And I'm like, Jesus, can't like a real eligible bachelor ask me out, right? Right? It's not gonna happen. It was something along the lines of him wanting me to know more about him or something. Oh, sounds interesting. Is he going for the man of mystery angle? Still, gonna say yes? Yes. At least I think so. It's hard to say, but I think a lot of how it plays out will depend on what his true self of his turns out to be. What about you and Sal? How's that going? Wait, what? We're not dating? Sorry, I meant about the scavenger hunt. And given he's your partner and all, last I heard, you didn't have your eyes on... You didn't have your eyes on anymore. On anyone. Orlando was terrible at keeping his composure, and I felt it worth prying given how nervous he seemed to be. Unless you and Sal are dating. No, don't be silly. Although I do think I'm crushing a little bit. Is that bad? I mean, Sal is he's good. He's good. So yeah, Orlando, I understand. Have you told him? I don't think he's keeping up on, picked up on it yet. I was hoping to be subtle. I don't even know if he's well, you know. I'm assuming so. Probably a big assumption, but it's never come up before. Maybe you should just ask him straight up and see what he says. You're right. There's no way around it, is there? Yeah, worst he can do is say he's not interested. Better to know now, so you can laugh it off as friends later, right? Yeah, I think that's not a bad way to think about it. I'll probably need some time to work up the courage, but I'll ask him, promise. But if it goes well, I'll come running with treats for days. Just remember, it could go either way. And if it does, as long as I can come to you and get a hug to make me feel better after, I think I'll be alright. Orlando got comfy in his beanbag before sniffing the air. What's that smell? It's blood. Okay. You smell like swimming pool. Make sure you wash that chlorine out. Oh no, I grumble, thinking that I'd washed thoroughly enough, but I guess I need to have another shower to really get out the smell. After the movie, I split off from Orlando, who ducked into his room to get ready for bed. It was late, and I was fairly certain I was probably the last one up, and how quiet it was. Fuck, fuck, fuck! Tyson? It was faint, but I could hear him muttering to himself in the room. Tyson looked up at me, and I eased the door to the room open. You okay? Yeah. I just, didn't know I'd left the door open. You're shaking. To make things worse, his fur was a mess. Parts of it matted, and other parts just missing and now strewn on the floor. I was by his side in seconds, looking over him, and no sooner than, when I was in arm's reach, he grabbed me and clung tight. I fucked up bad. I fucked up real bad. How bad are we talking? What happened? I don't know. What am I gonna do, Dave? There was any number of instances where Ty would call me by my name, and none of them good. He had a whole list of pet names, but when he dropped my name, it was serious. I tried thinking back. What was he doing this evening? Then it hit me. The next word out of my mouth was barely a whisper. Hoss? It was enough to make Tyson flinch, and he held onto me tight. I didn't mean it. He shook me gently as he crumbled, collapsing onto the floor. Ty, what do you do? What did you do? It took him a few seconds before he looked at me, fearful, and more fearful than I'd ever seen him before. I killed him, Dave. He's dead. What? No, you couldn't have. I shook my head, but Tyson's expression didn't change, shifting only to the floor instead of meeting my gaze. Ty, tell me what happened. Okay. Tyson started to walk me through from when Hoss approached him, then when they ran into Orlando in the kitchen before heading down to the gym. Apparently they were going all right. Things were going all right before Hoss started pressing him for information that Tyson didn't want to give up willingly. But as he said, Hoss wanted to know just what relationship we had, and Tyson told him, which apparently had made Tyson say something provoking enough that. And then I just lay into him. 2 hits and he was on the floor, stone cold. The fuck am I going to do, Dave? I can't. I couldn't help but hug him. Part of me still wondered if Hoss was actually dead, but I knew that right in front of me, Ty was hurting something awful. But if he'd left Hoss on the floor, we had to do something about it. Ty, I need to check on Hoss. Maybe he's not dead. Ty remained silent, keeping his gaze elsewhere. Anything I should know about? Is he still on the floor? Tyson shook his head, speaking in a half mumble. Tried to wake him up by putting him in the shower. Left him in there propped up against the wall. Okay, he might just be unconscious. Let me go check it out. I left Tyson a mess on the floor in his bedroom, closing the door behind me. There was a pit in my stomach that grew with every step towards the basement. He could just be unconscious. He's probably fine. I didn't want to believe Hoss was dead, or that Tyson had killed him, but it was something that had to be checked. I reached the basement, immediately feeling like I shouldn't have come alone. The whole place was quiet, and the gym had a certain smell to it. Not musky, as I had come to associate it with given Tyson's frequent visits, but something more metallic. He said in the shower, right? Hoss, you in there? No response. I breathed in deep, chanting in the back of my mind a prayer that Tyson hadn't killed Haas and I wasn't about to walk in on something. I closed my eyes right as I got to the lockers, the metallic smell hitting me even harder, to the point of making me almost gag. What? Huh. That's the knife that Haas is holding in the main menu. I see. Um well, Tyson didn't mention a knife. My eyes were drawn to the pool of red coating the floor of the shower, trailing up to the object sticking out of Haas's chest. Actually, give me a minute. I'm gonna. Where's my notepad file for passwords? That's not it. Password notes. Here it is. Okay. Gotta keep all of these in order, right? I want OBS up and open so I can see if that's still recording and all good. Yes, it is. I wobbled, bracing myself on the wall nearby and willing myself not to faint. There was no mistake. Haas was dead. Haas? I stared at his face, my mind racing. Did Tyson do this? Was he just lying about what he did and left his body? Then there was an issue of the knife. Where did that come from? Who used it and why? I heard footsteps behind me, and I froze, my breath catching in my chest. They were slow, deliberate, and I turned around to see who was there. Roswell? I crossed the distance between where I stood and where he was waiting, in the middle of the gym between its entrance and the shower. There's been Haas's... Dead? How did you... Roswell shook his head. The blood. I could smell it when I came downstairs, with how strong the smell was. He trailed off, the rest of his thought apparent with the cold logic of what the smell of blood could mean. Dave, did you? Were you the one who... No! I wasn't sure what to say. I couldn't rightly tell Roswell. I was down here checking out if Tyson had killed Haas without immediately throwing him under the bus. If it wasn't you, that leaves... Tyson? Sal? I flinched when Roswell started painting the picture himself, but he continued on as if he hadn't noticed. Maybe Haas himself, if it was suicide. Benson, maybe? He's a wild card. Those are the ones that come down here most often, right? Right? Moments pass as Roswell continues to think, his brow furrowed as the cogs in his head continue at an alarming rate. Cause of death? I gesture behind me, gulping. My throat was dry. Excuse me. Unsure of where Roswell's train of thought was leading him. It'd be easier if he saw, and part of me didn't really want to describe what I'd seen in any way. Oh no. I don't want to see the body. Just thinking about it makes me feel not all that great. But we should call the police. Maybe let the others know so we're all on the same page. Roswell led the way back to the foyer and then headed upstairs to his room. He was taking it better than I expected, but maybe he was just treating this with cold logic to get through the bad news as he was prone to do. Me, on the other hand. Tyson was right there when I left him, on the floor, broken. Ty? Buddy? He didn't move, barely breathing. I knelt? yeah, next to him and shook him gently. Kneeled? Knelt? I guess that's a past. I don't know. I need you to tell me what you did to Haas. Please, it's important. I cradled Tyson's jaw, lifting it slightly so he was looking at me. He let me move him effortlessly, eyes glossy and vacant, but slightly puffy from where I'd assumed he'd been crying. All right, pup. All right. His words were croaked out, volume brought down to a worried whisper. I punched him twice. I guess in the face. When he hit the ground, I dragged him to the shower to try to wake him up with cold water. Didn't work, so I bailed. I'm such a fucking coward. All right. If you did nothing else, you might be okay. Roswell's calling the police, so we'll just have to see how it goes. I rounded up everyone so we could wait for the police. Despite the state I found Haas in, they took Tyson away for questioning first. I went second, then Roswell. It didn't go well. We were there for another day before Benson had everything arranged for us to go. Police had already started scoping out the crime scene, so us being around was just being in the way. Dean drove me home from the funeral, a lot of us still reeling from what could have happened even after a week. He walked me to the front door, the two of us waiting for the others to say something first. So, you gonna be okay? Yeah, I think so. You have my number, right? Call me anytime you need anything, Dave. Anything at all. Okay. Thanks, Dean. Yeah. I'll let you get some rest. Wait. Last I heard, Tyson was being pinned for it. We hadn't heard from him since we left, and his ride home was in the back of a police car. Do you think Ty did it? Don't know. It'll be something that comes down to what's proven in court, right? Do you think he did it, I mean? I don't think so, but I wouldn't know who else. What he told me before I found Haas didn't line up with how I found him. Well, I guess we'll just have to see. Hope for the best and deal with it as we find out more. If he's innocent, then maybe we can go out for drinks or something. Yeah. It'll be alright, Dave. Might not happen right away, but it'll happen. Oh, almost forgot. I was given this to give to you. I wasn't really paying attention at the time, but yeah, here. Dean reached into his back pocket and handed the crumpled letter over to me, the seal broken. Sorry, must have sat on it in the car. You should probably read it. I took it from Dean and unfolded it. Who's it from? Dunno. Just signed OH at the bottom. Ring any bells? Yes, Oswin Hamden. I shook my head, reading the contents of the letter. To the holder of this letter. I trust that despite all things, you are well, or at the very least, were well enough to be on the road to recovery following the tragic loss. I need you to remember this word, and remember it well. Heroism. Heroism. I mean, I guess Haas was had an obsession with the idea of a hero. So I guess that works. Yeah, okay. Was Death Cap ever capitalized like this? So I don't remember Dean's. That was so long ago at this point. Like Dean's route. Was Death Cap capitalized like this? I remember Solidarity was like a really, it was in this letter the same as this. But, yeah, interesting. I blink and look to Dean, waving the letter in my hand gently. What is this? I looked back at the letter, realizing there was more written. I held up a finger to cut Dean off and continued to read. It was the trait Haas always aspired to. But he just wasn't ready for that fight, not yet. Or maybe it was just that his villain rival was too strong. Regardless, carve that word into your heart and make the world a better place in his stead. I didn't know what to think at first. Angry, frustrated, insulted. I cycled through them pretty quick before I looked to Dean in the eye. Dean, you read this, right? Yeah, sorry. Assumed it was for me at first, and was on auto most of the day. Okay, what's your take? Dunno. Was a bit to take in, but I guess I kinda understand it. Go make the world a better place, because that's what Haas was trying to do, or something. My mind began to race with ideas, trying to decipher what the letter was trying to mean. Call it a way to cope, or a sudden stroke of inspiration. I wasn't sure which was more accurate. Can we meet for lunch or something tomorrow? I guess. I'm not doing anything. Good. I just want some time to think things over and then want to know what you think about it. Alright. I'll pick you up tomorrow. Just don't go coming up with any crazy ideas. The following day, Dean and I had lunch, and I pitched the idea of joining the police force. I told him about how, when I visited my mother, to tell her she was vehemently against it. Dean was on board. I wasn't sure if the letter spoke to him in the same way it did to me, or if he was just taking the career path that seemed easiest. But we applied for the academy that day, and moved in together to keep things easy. Dean was rapt at the prospect, obviously having me in such close quarters nearly all the time, which I think is why we actually started dating proper, really. Although it wasn't dating so much as we were living as a couple for as long as one night it just all all sort of came to a head and became official. With Dean by my side, I felt that I could make the world a better place and live up to what the letter hinted of what Haas's wanted for the world were. I didn't know how well we were going to do it, but we were at least going to try. That's kind of cute, you know? Like, despite the fact that I'm a Tyson simp, I do still like Dean a lot. Like, he's super cute. He's very loving, almost to a fault. Almost too much for me, but I mean, it's sad that like they could only get together in this scenario. I mean, I assume like yes, in Dean's route you will be able to romance him, blah blah blah, but like, you know, it feels bad. It's kind of like when you do Dean's ending and you kind of just like end up with Tyson, which I'm fine with. But I don't know, like this is, it's almost a really hopeful ending. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Dean's ending is still like the most tragic because like you lose all of your friends except for Tyson. And in Tyson's bad end, you know, it's bad. I mean, you still have your friends and they're kind of there for you, if I remember right. But you know what I mean, you know. Resonate. I made my way down to the vault. Combined with the gut feeling I had, something was drawing me into the keypad next to the door. Input password. Heroism. At first, I didn't think anything had happened, but I was suddenly blinded by a bright light, or at least the flash from the LED panel seemed brighter than it should be for a split second. As I rubbed my eyes, the colors morphing into a picture at the forefront of my mind, my breath catching in my throat as it took form. I shook my head hurriedly, cursing at how messed up it was that I was imagining Haas dead. But once more, it came back in full force, taking shape in the same way as it were a memory. What the hell? I looked back at the LED panel, still rubbing my head. Had it just given me some sort of vivid hallucination? I grumbled, looking around the room again. It was something to keep in mind anyway. Doesn't cost anything to be careful, but maybe anything else I needed to get ready for breakfast. Huh. Okay, so I think we'll end the part there, and I hope to see you around.